Okay, this is going to be shape number 6. We should be a fairly easy one for us. So what we're going to do here, because nothing new, we're going to use the line tool instead of a rectangle for this part. We still have our circle here. So we're going to get our overall shape. So I'm going to make my first shape. So it's a half inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inches wide. So it's going to be 2 inches wide by half inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. So 2 inches by 5 inches. So 2 by 5, and the height of it is going to be half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. So 3.5 tall. Okay. So I'm going to make my 2 by 5, 3.5 tall. That's going to be our first shape. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to create a document. We're going to call this shape 6. Create it. Here comes shape number 6. Make sure my workspace units are in inches. Always do that. Workspace units are inches. I'm going to build this from the top plane. So I'm going to hide my front and my right. And hide that, hide that. There it is. Add a sketch, top plane, end to normalize. I'm going to zoom in a little bit with the scroll wheel. I'm going to add my rectangle at the base. My rectangle is 2 inches wide, so I'm going to dimension this out nice and easy. 2 inches wide, and it is, what do we say, 5 inches long? 5 inches long. And we're going to then extrude this up some. So I'm going to hit here, finish my sketch, Shift E for the shortcut to extrude, click on it. It's going to come up 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to come into here, 3.5. There's my basic shape. All right, so now we have our basic shape. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put the circle all the way through. So that's gonna be the the first thing that I'm gonna do while I'm on it. So it looks like this circle, if we're looking at it, is going to be a half inch down. So half inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches. So the circle is going to be, hey, if I go to the center here, so this is going to be a half inch, 1 inch. So it's going to be a 2 inch diameter circle. So if I put my center dot on here, so like if I'm looking at my sheet here, so here's what I'm doing. I'm zooming into it. So I'm trying to figure out where the center point of the circle is. So what if I go right here, that's the center point of my circle. So I got a half inch, 1 inch that way, half inch, 1 inch that way. So my center point of my circle it's a 2 inch circle. And what I'm going to do is then measure how far is it from the top and the middle. So a half inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inches from the top. So I'm 2 inches from the top, and I go back to that center point that I found, half inch, 1.5, 2 inches. There it is. So I'm gonna make a 2 inch circle, 2 inches from the top, 2 inches from the middle. Easy peasy. So I go back into it. I'm gonna add a sketch on the front, add my circle. Here's gonna be my circle. And I'm going to add my circle in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this out. So here's what, all right, I got to get my measurements first. Dimension it. It is going to be a 2 inch circle. So it's a 2 inch circle. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that it's dimensioned from here to here is 2 inches. And from here to here is 2 inches. Okay, so that's going to be our circle there. So that would be our circle. That circle looks a little bit big. We're going to make it, yeah, that's right. There it is. So we got it. All right, so now I've got my circle. I'm going to make this, we're going to escape this out of here. Hold on. Turn that off. I'm going to double click on that one. There it is. That's a better circle. 2 inches to 2 inches. There it is. There it is. 2 inches. Looks like coming down here then. Yeah, my center point of my circle is off just a little bit. So it's 1.5 inch from the top, 2 inches from the side, and it's a 1.5 inch circle. All right, now we've got it here. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to extrude that circle, change the direction, change to remove. I'm going to pull it all the way through my shape, and I'm going to hit OK. My circle is cut out. Okay. So now the last thing that we need to do is we're going to cut this line from the top to the bottom. So we're going to add a sketch on the front. So I'm going to add a sketch on the front. I'm going to use my line tool now, and what I want to do is I'm just going to click at the top point somewhere to put my line, and then I'm going to click at the bottom point, make sure I'm on my bottom somewhere to click my line. So there's my line. Now here's how we're going to do this. I am going to take this line tool then, and I'm going to extrude out a shape of it, but I got to dimension it first. So the top of my line tool, so if I go back to our drawing here, the top of my line tool, 1/2 inch, 1.5 is the top, and the bottom is 1/2 inch, 1.5. So it's 1.5 from opposite ends. That should be easy. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to rotate my view just a little bit so I can see it. I'm going to dimension from the corner to that point should be 1.5, and from the corner to that point should be 1.5. There's my 1.5. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude everything that is on the other side of it, and it looks like it goes back 1 inch. So now I'm going to finish it, choose my extrusion. I'm going to extrude this side of it, change the direction, and it goes 1.5 inches. Make sure it's a cut, remove, and there's my cut. Okay, so there's our model for it. So this would be shape number 6. See how it cuts through? And we've got our little piece there. So that would be shape number 6. Other ways that you could have done it, could have made the cut first, then put the hole through. Lots of different directions that you could have made it. Could have made everything the shape in just one with the circle and just extruded out the one side of it. You could have done that piece of it too. So this would be shape number 6.